This vlog is actually just off the cuff. I woke up today and the plan was to finish out the last filming I had for the Podlair Fallout series, where I'm going to go over basically my trajectory leading me to what I believe is now me ascending into a very high Fumasta form. And so that was the plan for today. But I woke up this morning and I guess they're preparing me to do that filming. My spirits have given me a surge of just power confidence. I feel amazing right now. So I don't really know what I'm going to say here, other than I was thinking upon the first degree of Podlair practice and just really internalizing how incredible it is, and then internalizing how little you all have internalized it, and how weak that makes all of you, and how you're going to have to get way, way stronger before you can even begin to just start to get your mind, your heart, your soul, your whatever you got around the situation we do in fact all find ourselves in. Oh, goodness. So let me see if I can throw some out there. Might break some spells on those puny psyches of yours that you've lost control over. All right, so the first degree of Podlair practice requires zero speculation. It is purely observational. And with that alone, it is the great discovery in the history of humans. It's not as fully cracked open of a case as if you incorporate the higher degrees of Podlair practice, but that's unimportant. What's important for you all understanding the situation you find yourselves in and your pathetic human weaknesses that are flailing, trying to resist what's going on. For one thing, y'all keep doing this thing of like, it will be maybe proven to be an important thing someday. It's already been proven. And you seem to really be locked onto if the physiological cues can be seen to line up with the under the hood and beyond that I have speculated on, then something will be achieved. No, you morons. It's already been achieved on first degree. Zero under the hood, and it's already that. Let me see if I can break it down. Maybe you can get it, maybe not. Who cares? So we're talking about, let's see, take Xeni. All right, so if you can see the phenomenon enough to know that Xeni is a thing, we don't have to say what's under the Xeni hood. I have ideas, but that's irrelevant. Maybe those ideas are wrong. I still have made the greatest discovery ever, and I'm still a genius beyond all of you on the first degree alone. Take Xeni, and you look around the world at world leaders, at CEOs. They're overwhelmingly Xeni. So I know a lot of you, when I did that thing on the lens where I talked about the species mind ability and how little of it you all have, a lot of you probably think, he doesn't know me, I can do that, I probably do it better than him. No, not at all. You can't do it all, and I'll tell you why. Because if you could, you'd see what I'm about to tell you already. I wouldn't have to be spoon-feeding this shit to you. Okay, so without knowing why Xeni are the way they are, no idea of exactly what is under the hood that may be making them like they are, all we need to know is they exist. The Xeni is a thing. That thing shows up as CEOs over and over and over again to an incredible prevalence. All right, so if you can try this, imagine you are a state. You're the state of, I don't know, Georgia, or you're the state of Russia or something. Okay, so as a state, at that level, you now know through Podlair first degree that if you use that technology, you can find out all the Xeni in your country. And you put them together in a Xeni think tank. You can have Xeni schools. The power of prediction that gives you is staggering. Staggering. The fact that you'll be able to find your future CEOs and community leaders at such a high prevalence just through visual observation, which I gave. You can spot the Xeni in your tribe, and you can groom them from birth, not to be CEOs or whatever. No, you just send them once a week, like temple, just once a week on a Sunday or something. You send them to actually hang out with the other Xeni of the town. Are you all aware that animals get way smarter when they're put together? If you take an animal and put them in a limited group, or you put them in a zoo, it's worse, or you put them alone, it's worse. Or you put them alone around a bunch of other people that are not the animal they are. All those things make the animal less aware of what it is. You don't have to actually touch under the hood at all or even express it at all. You don't have to know why a dog's like a dog. But taking a dog to a dog park makes a dog a better dog. That's a fucking fact. Okay, everything I'm going to say here right now, none of this is speculative. There's no give on any of it. This is all hard. You just got to take it. You just going to have to take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. Now I'm going to enjoy giving it to you because it is what it is. So you got some state, Russia or whatever, and they now can find all the Xeni. And they can do this, and they can put the Xeni together. So, A, they're going to be able to predict where their future community leaders and CEOs are likely to come from, and they're going to be better at it. Because all those Xeni and whatever it is under the hood that makes them Xeni, we do not need to know. All we need to know is it's a thing. And now the Xeni get together and they become better Xeni. Why? Because that's what happens when any animal of any species gets together with others of its kind. It gets more savvy at being what it is. You can do this for all kinds of stuff. Take stand-up comedy. Let's say, as a state for some reason wants comedians. They want to actually produce a comedy team that can do stand-up comedy and travel around. If you look at stand-up comedians from all around the world, from multiple generations, it is overwhelmingly ad-serb dudes and der-serb ladies. So, visually observing what they look like, not why they're like that, don't even have to touch it, you fools. They can see that's what it is, and they can put a temple together so that once a week or whatever, these people in the tribe could all get together. The amount of stand-up comedy talent that would come out of there would be staggering because that's where it comes from. As a species, stand-up comedians generally come from those four. There are others, but those four overwhelmingly. So if you could actually pull them out, let them go there in a temple together, they are likely going to produce more better stand-up comedians than would have happened otherwise. This is kind of like a horse. Okay, in the history of horses, humans have been using them to a great extent. How much do they know about their anatomy early on? How much do they know about their the biochemistry of their brains? How much do they know about what they evolved from? Why exactly they have four legs? Why don't they have toes or claws? Why do they have hooves? Why is that important? You know what I mean? That was not necessary for them to visually observe. That is one of the fastest four-legged creatures out here. And it seems to be the most repeatedly easily to domesticate. That's all you need. And now you can actually power the world, which happened for a long time, on horsepower. Why? Because horses are fucking horses. And you can see it. There are certain attributes they tend to have. Why? Future generations have figured that out. We're probably still having arguments over why the horse is a horse. But the horse is a horse, and some humans, before other humans, noted that, and noted you can domesticate that. You can group them together, and they will do that and produce something very powerful for you. We have that amongst ourselves. We can find stand-up comedian talent. We can find CEO talent. I know this probably bothers a lot of you, the whole determinism thing. You're stupid. When you go into species mind, there is a lot of determinism. It would never work otherwise. That's evolutionary biology. Suck it up. Let's take that thing that someone said to me about, the top soccer players is just because they were trained in a lot of soccer. Oh, I disagree. How is it then that the overwhelming majority of soccer players are Zivi and Jivi, when other people all around the world also play soccer a lot? I've known people who actually really like soccer, and they did a lot, and they were like, I was an amateur, but then blah, 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 and now I'm a biochemist or whatever. Okay, I've known people like that. I'm sure they weren't all Zivi or Jivi. They were probably some other thing, and they didn't do it. So whatever the reason is, Zivi and Jivi show up at the top. So if you were going to do a soccer recruiting thing and you wanted to know what is the likelihood of these things panning out, that's what you would do. That's what you would do. And it wouldn't have to be one-to-one like that. That's too controlling. Get those thoughts out of your mind. I'm talking to you about the power. The power a species have, and thus the power a state would have. And thus powers individuals have eventually. But first you have to understand it from that point. Let's say you would make a race team, right? Okay, Zivi. When it comes to marathons, bicycling, surfing, NASCAR racing, Formula One racing, in fact, there's like no form of racing you can think of that Zivi aren't really there. Snowboarding, really, like skiing. So, if those things are important to you, imagine for a country at that level, $1 billion is nothing. 3 generations is nothing. So you take $1 billion, and for 3 generations, you actually make a special temple for Zivi to hang out and do what they do. You're not going to produce better racers. Yes, you will. You will. Yet think of species 9. Stop thinking like an individual. If you have the money and the technology to go find all the Zebai in your land and then make a temple they can all go to, you're not telling them to be pilots and drivers and so forth, racers. It's shown that that is what is going to happen. There's other things they are too, like being in the military, you know what I mean, like being in mixed martial arts. Okay, the point is, there will be very repeating careers, including ones we haven't seen yet, but you're going to be putting horses with horses. So you'll be able to get some kind of thing out of horses in the land in general. Is every horse going to be a draft horse? Is every horse going to be a race horse? No. But if you are able to collect the horses in your land and put them together, they will be better at being horses, and all the stuff horses do, you'll be able to monitor and improve and endow and support better. And you'll have better horse flesh in your tribe. Would you like to have all kinds of better human flesh in your tribe? Is this too dirty for you? Is this too real? Is this too nature channel for you? That's how you had to think of this. If you're not, you're a fool. You don't get how it works. Okay, now let's try, if you can, going species mind. So you're telling me that if you can see enough that there are Xeni, then you know that Xeni are all over the place as CEOs and whatnot. What if you actually made a global community of them? You know, global pen pals of all the Xeni, or all the Xeni who want to contribute. That would not actually make them way better at being a Xeni. That would not connect this thing that humans are doing. They think they're doing it in this country and that country, but no, Xeni are doing CEO world leader stuff everywhere. Why? I don't have to do that. I have ideas. I don't have to do that to own you. All of you. Anyone who actually thinks you have any discovery at all that trumps that, you've seen anything, heard anything in history that trumps that, you don't. That is so staggering, it's sci-fi on the first degree. If you think I have to prove what's under the hood to have that status, you're dumb. You're dumb as a bag of hammers. You're hopeless. Try to grasp what I'm saying the power is here on just visually. Just visualizing that those things exist and they group up as they exist. That right there, game changer. Game changer. And all of you are actually still whinging over whether or not it exists, or if it does, why it exists, and how strong is my confidence on that? How do I know there's 8 powers? How do I know this and that? How do I know modulation? But skip it. We don't have to talk about that. And the fact that you keep doing that shows how resistant you are to the implications, because pretty much the vast majority of the implications I have told you over the years, they still are there on the visual alone. The specifics of what's under the hood, that's open for debate. But the fact that it's there is not. The fact that it is there, repeating, and it is running everything, that is self-evident. So, people ask me like, what's the connection between the Qs and the powers? Stop. It's beyond you. And it's not important in the beginning. Because to start with, you don't need to know that. Okay? Second, if you really feel you need to know that, there's only one way you can do that. You gotta get your lens better. You need to be way better observing things before that. But really, just focus on observing, because that's gonna blow your mind. Already you're resisting it. Already we have people like Gabe saying, oh yeah, there are 4 body types that I can now see that relate to the 4 Greek humors. Try to imagine if your little brains can, because I have people actually tell me I should learn more math. My math is not really high, but apparently it doesn't stop me from scrutinizing the elements of the human condition way better than all you fools. Try to do the math for this then. I don't know what it is, but I know the number's big. The 4 Greek humors, if I'm right, and according to some of you all, you can see I'm right, that means that's a thing. What kind of, 2 things, me and then in general, me, what kind of mind and ability to observe the obviousness of humans by visually just looking at it do I have over others, that it was some of the best and brightest of the ancient Greek thinkers, and then they themselves couldn't actually organize an actual listing of it. They never even really tried to do that. And then all this time later, all those thinkers that had that to work with, I was the one that got it. All right, so if that's true, and several people who even my critics are giving me that, yet they don't do the next step. By definition, my ability to observe visually what humans are at a subtle level and fundamentals of their condition, it outstrips everyone. People who are actually like talking to me like now from the ex-Podler community, for example, your abilities are just None of you have ever done anything that would come close to the person who could actually pull off the first degree of pod layer. Visually observing that and how it actually goes in all these demographics, visually, zero speculation. With that alone, game over. I got it. The title of Mega Genius, I got that at first degree. If you think I need any of the speculative aspects of pod layers, degree 2, 3, 4, 5, in order to get that title, you are deluded. To be able to see the 4 Greek humors or any other thing, Zebai, Zenai, whatever, and point them out everywhere, regardless of why Zenai or Zenai. But I pointed out, those are horses. They're faster than a lot of the other 4-legged animals. You can domesticate them. That's going to change human existence and civilization radically. That's going to be a paradigm shift from going from we walk around our own to we domesticate animals. Okay, so going around from we don't know there's Zenai at all, like that's a thing. We don't know there's qualia. We don't know that it actually is a limited amount of models we're seeing, and that only like 1 out of 16 is showing up so much in those certain areas. The power of prediction. Okay, so all you people comparing me to like MBTI and Jung or whatever, what power of prediction do they have? None. What power of prediction does pod layer have? It is staggering at first degree. Zero speculation. I'm observing. Humans have these quality categories. Zenai is one of them. Zenai show up in these certain places at a regularity that any state that had that to work with would become much more powerful in a few generations, for sure. Knowing where comedians come from, knowing where leaders come from, knowing where artists come, knowing these things ahead of time, and you could actually fund them, put them together, make think tanks. Let the Zebai talk amongst each other about why Zebai or Zebai. Why do you like racing that truck? Why do you like racing that surfboard? Why do you like racing that thing, the horse jock? Why do you like that? Fine. I think I have ideas already, and I think people should listen to my ideas because I'm the one that pointed out the first degree. But the first degree alone, already we have global temples. Already we have, that changes everything. Right there, people who are doing various religion, spiritual models, the fact that there is human qualia that is that deterministic, that actually saying what careers are likely to be good for you, mind-blowing. And all I'm hearing from most people is, well, how sure are you about the higher speculations? And didn't this actually come from MBTI? No, fuck MBTI. Oh, I told you another film, I think it was like to Mitchell. I'd gladly boot them aside. And then I realized I can. The first degree, I have so much power. And I don't have to speculate anything. In fact, I don't have to actually touch anything under the hood, which means us and MBTI, stop talking about it. I'm going to be beating the shit out of all these models on first degree. What can any of these models, any religious model, any sociological model, any psychological model, what can any of these human condition models do to touch the first degree of there is innate qualia that can be seen, there are a limited amount of categories, and those categories you can actually predict at a state level or a species level what the species or entire population of a state is going to be doing at a macro level. And you could actually make temples for these things. All that can be done without knowing what's under the hood. In fact, those temples can be the one that knows what's under the hood. They can figure it out in future generations. But how are they ever going to do that without being told you're a Zenai? And this is stuff that we see Zenai doing throughout the media. Oh, the power. Do you not feel that power? Are you going to try to actually say it's not there? Oh, you're so weak. So weak. So now, not trying to mean anything, but when people go like, well, how do you know about the cues connecting to the powers? Well, that's because I can see way better and I can see the cues moving, and they move in certain ways. But that's more advanced for you. Start with the cues are there, and the cues being there actually combine in certain ways. There are only so many overall categories, and those categories have very definite demographic trajectories. The power of that, the fact that you don't get that, I feel sorry for you. It's amazing to me that when I actually separate out the first degree of just what's on top of the surface, people took that as like, oh, it's a weakening. No, I'm more powerful than ever. Pod layer is more powerful than ever because that's how much power. I'm glad you all whined and wanked and all whinged until I was like, fine, I'll just separate that out. I was trying to be helpful by giving as much as I could. But it's separating that out. Some people thought like, oh, that lessens things. Now you actually have more of a distance between the on the surface and under the hood. It's now 1 degree and 2 degrees. You have to bridge those degrees. I don't have to do anything to beat everything that's come before me in the human condition outside of the first degree. That alone does that. If you think differently, prove it to me. Go ahead. Name me anything in the world that actually has the power to go out and group people visually and have the power of prediction at a macro level. Meaning, if you take a tribe or a city that has 10,000 or 100,000 people and you bring in $1 million to do $1 billion to bring us to do this little project, you're not going to be able to determine and improve what Z and I are doing. Not working at one person at a time where their life's going. No, you're going to take a whole town, 100,000, 10,000, something big, and then you're actually going to be able to visually pull these people out and let them talk to each other and grow. You're going to introduce horses to other horses. Horses are a thing. You can now see them and you can actually bring them together and actually do it better. Whatever it is. Name me any other model, any other person, any other technology, any other methodology that can do that. You can't. Oh. Oh my goodness. You should be feeling really stupid right now. Because hopefully you're not too dumb that you actually have registered what I just said here. You just registered this discovery is massive. I was trying to give you too much. And you spoiled snowflake brats are like, well, what about this? And how does it go to second degree? And how do you know about those speculations? And you're just going right back past the fact that at a statehood level, this is clear as day. This blows away everything. Nothing can touch this. Nothing. First degree. Zero speculation. So stop actually talking about speculation. Number one, you're all too weak. Your lenses are so lousy, the idea of you talking about speculations is ridiculous. Second, it's unnecessary. Your mind should be blown. You should be frothing at the mouth to get better at reading, better at tracking, so you can track this thing that is running everything, whatever it may speculate to be. That's amazing to me. You saw the separation of first degree and thought that made more distance. No, that's actually saying I can just pull out just the directly observable and it's over. So, is there qualia? Visual, no observation. No speculation, all observation. Is it 16? Yes. Why? I don't know. Other than under the hood, I don't know why. CQ, why is under the hood make it that way? I'm telling you, visually, that's what it is. Visually, it's 16. And those 16 are going to show up in very definite patterns. Observation, observation, observation. No speculation. So, I'm curious what little corners of mental safety you're all going to run to now to try to actually explain this away. You're going to have to run back to you can't see it at all. Or I guess do what Gabe did of, oh, I can see that we're in a science fiction novel, but whatever. Okay, right there. We can visually see that there are 4 psychological templates related to body types everywhere. So why aren't... If that's true, and it is, imagine... And the Greeks really couldn't do this. They actually, I think, tried, but they couldn't really do it, which is to make temples of the 4 humors. They studied on it, but they never actually were able to make a visual observation and group and actually select, go around, found people could read enough, and then go around the tribe and go, you're in this group, you're in this group, you're in this group, and if you want to, you're eligible to go to this temple. Only people who have been visually identified by trained readers can go to that temple. And then you go there, and you're around all the other people who actually share sanguine, whatever that is. You're going to be around all the other Xeni, whatever that is. You're going to be around all the other adserbs, whatever that is. Oh my goodness. Is that true? Yes. Is that staggeringly powerful and insightful and profound? Yes. Can anyone else, anything else, any other system come close to that? No. Not at all. Oh, I feel so strong right now. And I'm so just dismissive of all of you. And just amazed at what you choose to focus on. You choose to focus on whether you know it or not when you can quit. Oh, well, he says under the hood, but how do we really know that? So it's just a theory. No, it's not, you fucking morons. First degree, that's not theory, that's direct observation. That's look at the stars. Now, why they're like that, who knows? But this telescope that I have is better than yours, and if you see the pictures I have, you're like, nope, those are more stars. The Milky Way is not the only galaxy. Well, how do you speculate that? What's your idea of physics, your idea of math that makes you think there's things outside the Milky Way? Nothing. I have a better telescope. I can see past the Milky Way. What makes you think the math of humans works in such a balanced, structured way that there is like a Xeni? Well, I have reasons for that, but I don't have to. All I have to do is, it's a thing. And that thing is showing up here, repeatedly. Thus, I have prediction. I have very powerful prediction. Species-wide, macro, statehood level prediction. So really, if you think about this logically, if you little wimps can do that, is this. What's under the hood? You're gonna have to go two places. One, those who actually can see what's over the hood the best and see what their speculations are. That's one way, in which case you have to go to me. You have to go to Podlair. Or you can go to the people. You can go to a think tank, a temple of Xeni from all over the world and go ask them, why are you like this? Why do you think this way? What is it that makes you attracted to these careers? What do you all have in common? Obviously there's differences, but clearly there's a overwhelmingly commonality of things that you're into and are powerful at. Why is that? And then they can answer. They can just give, it's not like, more tactical, they would just give their personal experience. But it would be the lived experience that'd be worthwhile because you'd be hearing the lived experience of all the Xeni. And you can try to take what that all meant and figure something out. But you have to actually have Xeni to ask. How are you going to have that? Oh, that's right, Podlair, me. The only way you're ever going to figure this riddle out is, one, getting better lenses, so you can speculate better off of observations, or go find people who live on those planets and ask them. But first, you'll have to know those planets exist and be able to spot them. That's it. So, I feel so free and powerful now. And more sure than ever that I'm right to leave you all behind because this is so obvious. This is so obvious. Just like the purifications, the fact that people felt weakened by that. No, we're getting more dialed in. We're stronger than ever. The case is getting more closed. There's so much theoretical stuff that I don't know, and how do you know, and how... None of that is needed to be a paradigm shift of human consciousness that is never... This means there is some kind of like video game simulator tech that's making these specialized looks. And these specialized aesthetic quality category looks are showing up in these places. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear how powerful that is? How incredible? How much you're looking at the programming of humans in some way, even if you do not know at all what that programming is. You are seeing the results of it. You are seeing there is qualia that repeats. You are seeing that it's in 16 different combinations over and over again. And those combinations are showing up in certain careers over and over and over again at huge prevalences. Do you understand this? Do you grasp the... You think you can handle upper theory? Your minds are resisting that, and everything I just told you on that is directly observable. You're out at the directly observable implications. Fuck the theoretical stuff. My advice is, don't even worry about that. It's way, way, way beyond you. You focus right now on just what you can see and what that means. And if you're not freaking out on that, you're crazy. It's the bigness of it. Because you're like, what does it mean to me and who am I going to date and blah, blah, blah for my career? You can't do this work. Because if you can observe it, this is a species thing. You have to understand the species mind. Or, in a more limited fashion, and maybe you can grasp that much, is try to think of a state. For a state of people, we're talking thousands, millions of people, and now you're going to actually have policy that actually influences that. You're telling me that you could not have the most state-of-the-art policies of helping humans be the best they can by seeing there are 16 categories you can visually observe and they repeat with such incredible regularity and where their lives go. Countries throughout history have stepped over themselves trying to actually figure out which people are talented at which things and how you find them and how you bring them in. Okay, well, this tells you which ones are talented, it tells you how you find them and bring them in. Xeni, all mojos, they group together. So if you have a temple in your town of 100,000 people and you've gotten like most of the Xeni to know that they either they do go or they know they are allowed to go, they're eligible for that temple, which is special just for them, you go find another Xeni. The chances that they actually are going to share profound similarities with this other Xeni is a given. There'll be something they share, and the fact that will be alluring to them. So let's take Zevi. Zevi actually race in like every race you can imagine. Like every race you can think of, Zevi are super strong in there. So what do you think Occam's razor are the chances that you find another Zevi in the town that they will either have a predilection for racing themselves, or like watching it, or like people who do it even if they don't watch it? If that many Zevi are in racing, or racing has that many Zevi, I don't know what else to tell you. Right there, do you not hear what this means? This means, without knowing the programming under the hood, you are seeing that it is programming. And you want more. You want more before you move on it. You want more before you say I'm a genius. You want more before you say it is at least one of the greatest discoveries ever. You want more before you're like, well, how does it work for me, blah, blah. You're spoiled. You're spoiled, and you actually are just small-minded resisting what this means, because your head should be popping on the implications of what your naked eyeballs can see. Zero theories needed for that. In fact, it's better that way, because then it puts us somehow like we're like in competing with MBTI. No, we're not. In fact, by separating it out, it's even better, because when I separate just the visual, there's no theory. There's no theory. There's no speculation. You're just observing. And the power of prediction is crazy. What power of prediction do typology have? None. Big Five. Okay. Can the Big Five, which is considered one of the biggest ones that organizations actually use, can the Big Five actually determine that there are Xeni and that Xeni are overwhelmingly in certain positions? No. No, it can't. It's a very, very clumsy tool. So, and it has to ask you, yeah, you can actually have trained readers just come up from the state. You know, Russia has this little cadre of trained readers, and they just travel from town to town and look for the right people. And they give them a little thing saying, you can now go to this temple if you want to. Are you not seeing this? I could do this right now. If right now, see, you got to understand this, because you can't imagine outside your current circumstances. Let's say you gave $1 billion and state authority to all different models. What is the very spirituality models going to do with $1 billion and state authority? Nothing more than they've done. Most of them had it. Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, they've all had that kind of money. They've had that kind of money, and they had that kind of power. What about different psychology models? What about Confucianism? It had the money. It had the state allowing it generations of state authority to actually try to organize life. Didn't do it. Okay. Now, if your little brains can, imagine this guy with Podlair is actually given just one state in the United States. One large city. Give me something that's got 100,000 or more people and $1 billion, and I can actually make policy. And the only policy I'm really going to make is that I insist that there are temples made, and that there is a team of readers trained, and those people go around and select which people are eligible to go to which temple. They're not forced to go there. They are allowed to go there if they want. That would be a completely different world. And that's what's going to be happening. That's what's on its way. Try to imagine that if you can, and imagine that's inevitable. It's inevitable that people are going to see that the physiological cues are there. That's observable. And then they're going to put their statehood and their money and use it. And it's going to change everything. And we have not touched theory. You realize you could actually give Jung all the money you wanted. And he never showed that he was able to read, to put in these categories. Go ahead and give MBTI $1 billion and let them state sponsor giving out typology surveys. And Allow all the shrinks now that do different kinds of analysis of all kinds of stripe. Give them billions of dollars and allow them to actually in some way have state power of something. Like there's like churches or schools of whatever psychological model they're into. Any of them. All of history that has chance before me and everyone right now, currently, and where they're going. Any of them. Give them $1 billion and state authority, and what can they do with it? Nothing more they've done now except more. It wouldn't change reality of like all humans. If I had $1 billion and a small town, I'm actually going to be able to organize it, and that town, whatever talent level that entire 100,000 or million population had of comedians, racers, CEOs, I will find it. I will find the totality of it. Not which exact individual is exactly going to end up being president. I am, at a state level, going to be able to find all the people that are most likely to be the CEOs and the generals and yada, yada, yada. Do you not see the power of this? Do you not now see why I organize things the way they do? Why I talk in the language that I do? This is going to change everything. Everyone's going to have to work with this. They can all, and they will, argue about what happens after what you can observe. But it's there. It's 16. They show up in certain categories. Anyone who maximizes this, not anyone, any state, any large group that uses this to understand and maximize the macro trends of their people is going to be the most dominant because nature says so. Nature is already saying that the best soccer players in the world will be in your tribe, if they're there at all, but if they're there, they will come from the Zibai and Jaivi in your tribe. Most your CEOs and generals and world leaders in your tribe, if they're there at all, will come from the Zenai in that population. Do you not see this power? Drop all those other insignificant things. I'm an asshole. Compared to this, okay, if you're thinking those terms, wow. It doesn't line up exactly with the theory. I don't know if the theoretical is there. You're actually stopping on this because the theory of it might not go somewhere. Leave it alone. Just take your little brain, your little eyeballs, and stick on what you can see. This gets back to something someone said to me when they were trying to argue about is it real, or if it is real, is it a big deal? At a state level, go for any other metric. Go in and let's say you have white people, black people, Asian people, whatever, and see if it is the white people or black people that end up being the racers, who end up being the world leaders. Okay, go through and find all the people who actually in that 100,000 million people drink more than a certain amount a week, or don't drink at all, and use that to determine if they're going to end up being in certain positions. Go ahead. Track any metric that is currently tracked and see if you're going to be able to predict who ends up in certain positions with more regularity than the Mojo phenomenon. You can't, and it thinks so. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, once you grasp that, you'll grasp that none of the rest of the theory of Baudelaire even needs to come in for it to have automatically right there on visually observing alone trump every other human condition model, period, trump everything going on today, trumping everything people are even talking about. For again, as they said about artificial intelligence and mapping the mind, it'll still need to come from this. Maybe it's not what I say it's under the hood. I think it is, but maybe it's not. Still, how are you going to ever figure out what is under the hood if you can't even see how the models look on the surface? You can't tell a sports car apart from an SUV. Okay. What's under the hood? I'm speculating basing what I see these cars doing, and I think because I can see those cars and I can see them better than all of you, that I can speculate what is under their hood better than you. But that's beside the point of people were not recognizing there's 16 models, and those 16 models actually say overwhelmingly what those vehicles will be doing. You keep chewing on this until it gets in. It may never. I think modern humans just can't handle it. They can't imagine, because I was thinking, well, the speculations, they are pretty trippy and so forth. You got the spirit forming and you got the unconscious genius, and that's a lot to ask. But now, that was me giving you too much leeway. Because now I'm seeing what a bunch of, punk ass fools you are when it comes to what you can see. Your resistance to the clear implications of what you can directly see. And actually those other things, they're just outs. You're looking for any out. Two things. You're looking for an out from the implications, and you're also looking for, how's this for me? How do I know what I'm going to do and where I'm going to do and maximize myself? Okay, you first need to deal with the fact that it's real. it's worth studying because it's for all humans, and it'll have to be understood in a trickle-down way, not a perkle-up. Species mind is trickle-down, not perkle-up. I mean, they connect with each other. Each individual does his own thing, random mutations. Some of them are good, and that can add to the overall collective, and eventually the collective can be improved by the, mutations successfully of individuals. Yeah, I get that. But by and large, why things are they are is because things were successful as a species way of operating. I'm going on and on here, but I'm having fun. I'm having a blast. I feel so confident right now. That's so obvious. And then the pushback I'm getting from you, even ones of you who are smarter than some of the others, the fact that you don't get this, the fact that that what you can see, you're not understanding how that trumps everything on that alone. So, you think I'm a jerk, whatever? Irrelevant. You think that the upper theory based on the observations might not be accurate? Just don't think about it. Yeah? You're wondering well, it's not going to automatically predict where I'm going. Well, it will if you know it well enough and internalize that you are what you are well enough. But let's leave that aside. Your first purpose, if you truly want to understand the human condition, not just how it means to you, but you just want to understand it, period, you have to start with the species, not yourself. Start with the species, start with macros, start with states, and then eventually you come into the picture. Do not put you first. Species first. Large organizations first. That's how you have to think of it. I don't really have anything else much to say here other than I feel so powerful. So powerful. And I feel nothing at your pushback once I've separated this out and you're not coming to the same conclusions I am. You're thinking that's weaker when it shows a power that no one else has. An undeniable power of observation, an undeniable power of prediction, and an undeniable primacy in its ability to do that in the human condition if you can think at species mind level. All right, I'm pumped. I feel great. Maybe I started doing this because, after the Fumasta one, I talked about how I built myself to this, and that's the stage I'm going to now. And I guess that maybe I was feeling like, I'm feeling kind of rough after all these things, all these pushbacks, and, not really feeling like me, that's the thing to do. Man, my spirits took care of that. They showed me this, what it means, and they showed me you and how you interpret it. And we're not talking theory. We're looking at horses, and I'm saying those ones are faster. You're going, are there horses? Are they faster? Do they domesticate easier than other four-legged fast creatures? Oh, goodness. I don't mean to laugh at you, but fuck. I mean, I love you all because you're fellow humans, but fuck, you're stupid. Stupid and slow. Oh my goodness. Oh, this felt good. This felt really, really, really good. Yep. Everything I just said is true, and I don't have for you to listen to me based on you. I've given you something to be confident with in the observing things that you can have some confidence when I'm saying the speculating things. I'm just saying observing. And when I separate it out, I realized that I separate out very little of the power. It's still this paradigm shift. It's still this incredible genius move I did observing humans on that alone. Yeah, this fall has been really great because I saw people actually saying things where they're like, well, he does see this and I can agree to that much. That much means that I am clearly more a genius observing humans than the vast amount of humans who have ever lived. On that alone. And yet people want all these other things and they want to mention that but not mention, we'll have to give Coach the fact that he is at minimum a genius. Really super genius. How many geniuses are there today? Not a lot, but there's some. How many of them can do this? How many geniuses have there been who are interested in psychology and humans and watched them a lot throughout the years? In general, start from Greek humors. From the Greek humors, how many of them are doing it? How many of them are geniuses? Probably at least a couple. And did they do what I did? Nope. From there till now, with all the media, with portraits, with photographs, with video, with the internet, with cable, all this stuff, people now are really looking at people all the time. How many have done it? Okay, so the fact that that jump is not made is amazing to me. The fact that you actually can't visualize, I can do a what if, I have a big expansive brain. No, you don't. Imagine a science fiction novel where this is actually real, and now imagine which states get a hold of that tech first. And they know that in their populace, they actually can find the most likely to be future CEOs. And they can put them together. What's under the hood? But those people that can do that, put them together. For example, you take horses. Horses that are fast and agile and know how to fuck good and know how to problem solve good as a horse, whatever that means, but they can do that. You put them, let's see if you follow along, class. You put them with other horses, this is a fucking fact. The horse gets smarter. The horse gets much smarter if a horse is brought around other horses. And they can, whatever means under the hood, they can make a pecking order of who can do horsey stuff better. So horses get better at being horses by being around other horses, and quality horses can actually do things better, so the lesser horses can try to emulate the stronger horses. And those around can then say, oh, those are horses, and those horses are better at being horses than those horses, and we're going to reward those horses more. And a whole cycle begins of horses are a thing, horses should actually know how to be horses, and they can learn from each other, and they can actually make that a thing, and people can actually support them. Wow. Wow. That's all observable. Does it hurt you to think of yourself as specialized livestock? Well, that's because you're weak. You're weak on determinism, you're weak on the species mind. It is what it is. And you're telling me that when humans realized that, oh, horses could be done, but they didn't realize cows could be done, or they did and they didn't know the other one. And then they added on, oh, we can domesticate cows. Cows will do this. Oh, dogs will actually come around you and you can actually use them to track. Why do dogs have better tracking noses? That's nice to know, right? Later on, that's important to know too. Who fucking cares? In the beginning, how much did humans take advantage of the fact that there are animals in the world that track with their nose way better than other animals, and those animals actually have a predilection, in general, not all of them, but enough of them, that they are friendlier with humans than most animals? How much did that change things? How much tracking of advanced stuff got done by humans using bloodhounds that they couldn't do on their own, without knowing why a bloodhound's a bloodhound? Wow. Just wow. Wow, 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 wow. Oh. Woo! Oh my goodness. Ah. Thank you, spirits. This was great. This is so great. In fact, I have more I want to do, but I just want to be with you. I'm tired of talking with these fool people. I've given them enough to know where they stand in the order of things, as does everyone else and every other model, separate from myself and Pod Lair. You've been given enough to know big dog on the field. Alpha is in the yard. Well, you don't have the under the hood necessarily. Shit. You guys are too much. You're too much.